All right, welcome back. That was good stuff. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show. It's as we said, it's been really cool to highlight what LSU has had going on within their athletic department. We had Scott Woodward here last week talking about everything that's happening within the athletic department, whether it be women's basketball, men's basketball, baseball. But LSU football, obviously under the new direction of Brian Kelly, has brought in new faces at all levels of the program. And yesterday we talked to a guy in Jordan Arcement who's really behind the scenes as a recruiting specialist. And today we'll talk to, kind of his partner in crime, the guy that's behind the scenes who you hear his name routinely come up with players on the roster, guys that came through the transfer portal, guys that have been recruited to LSU and landed on campus, to guys that are being recruited right now at a high level. You consistently hear the name Sherman Wilson, and he is now with us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. It's great to see you. Thank you for the time. Good morning, man.
Good morning. I just want to thank God just for the opportunity. You all reached out to me. I watched Jordan yesterday, which was phenomenal because his story, like I told you a little bit earlier, me and him pretty much came up the same time. We were both high school coaches in Louisiana.
Wow.
With the thought process of getting to the college level, I think at that time, they had like the rule that you couldn't, I guess the individual associated with a prospect, because we were high school coaches, you couldn't get in. He got his way in also, I think, with J.R. Belton, who's now our director of recruiting at LSU. Another phenomenal guy, like JR, I call him Dr. Belton. I always joke about that. Former La Tech quarterback. Yeah. As you know, I worked at La Tech last year with Joe Sloan. So it kind of ties in. Kind of got in. I was at Southern University. So I was in Baton Rouge for 2 years, 2018 and 2019, which was amazing. I can't wait to the game that we play Southern.
Man.
I think it's going to be like 400,000 people in the area.
It'll be incredible.
Do not plan to get home before 3 a.m. It's not going to happen.
Walk there or walk back.
I mean, hey, and look, the party's probably going to still be going on.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, 3 a.m. Sunday and everything. Yeah,
it's going to be wild.
Get you a tent.
Absolutely.
Get you some barbecue and get you ready. It's going to be the band, everything. It's great for the city of Baton Rouge.
I agree. We had Scott Woodward in last week, the AD, and we were talking about that game and how excited the town is, but obviously the campus of LSU and Southern, everybody looking forward to that week. Before we get into everything, what's going on with LSU right now, and you guys are on fire on the recruiting trail, a little bit about your story. You're a South Louisiana guy.
Yeah, born and raised in New Orleans. Yeah. It actually started, football was not like a big thing in my family. My family is really rooted in their faith. I would miss football practice. I'd have to go to church on Wednesdays. My dad's a evangelist, my mom's a missionary, my grandma's a pastor. It was no nonsense on that. It doesn't matter what we were doing. Sure. Sunday and Wednesday and Fridays, we were Friday nights I would miss because of football games, but I had to be at church. And so but I was horrible in school. I got put out 8 different schools, 3 elementaries.
Kindred spirits over here, you two.
4 middle schools,
I knew you were my guy.
3 high schools, then Katrina hit.
Damn,
Katrina hit my senior year of high school, and we had to relocate to Pensacola, Florida, man. And so that's where I learned hard work, watching my dad driving back and forth from New Orleans to Pensacola, which is about a 3.5-hour drive, to watch over us while we stayed in the hotel. And I was even bad in high school then, man. I went to Woodham High School in Pensacola. It's not a high school anymore. But they allowed me to early release.
Get this guy out of here.
Yeah. Hey, look. You get one class and then go to work somewhere. And so, but
kid from New Orleans is wild.
Everything we heard is true.
Right. Yeah, get him out of here.
Being born in the Southern War, right over the levee by Dillard University. Yeah. Went to Gregory, went to John F. Kennedy.
What park did you play at?
I was at Digby.
Wow.
I wasn't good though. I'm not gonna be one of those guys that's gonna get up here and say, "Oh, I was this." No.
I didn't hurt my knee.
No, I wasn't good. No, I sucked. Uh-huh. But it allowed me to channel that anger and energy into something and stop being, cutting up in class.
Sure.
But I was a great student. But education was important. Faith is important.
So you tell me about that, about your school experience, and then I look down and I see you got your master's.
Yes, I actually stopped my doctorate 2 years ago. so I can continue to pursue. As you know, this business recruiting, college recruiting is 365 days, 24/7. You don't get a break.
Ever.
And you have to dedicate a lot to it. But my family, my mom, my dad, like I said, they're big on education, big on their faith. And that's why, like, my struggles through school is the main reason why I go so hard, in state, to give opportunities to young men and their families, because it's a difference maker, not having to pay for school, not having to, have loans, not having your mom, your dad stress your family, stress about education and, what your future is. Which, that's a big thing, especially in this state. You hear the stuff about, we're low in poverty, we're low in education. But, it's because of opportunities. It's not because of want to. We want to succeed. You know what I'm saying? That's why you look at everyone that comes out of this state, that's why they thrive. Because when given an opportunity, an equal opportunity, we're different.
Yeah.
We're bred different. It's just, it's in our veins. It's in what we do. And so that's why, like, you hear it in Jordan's voice when he talks about recruiting at LSU, because we know if we give a kid in state a chance, we know that those kids are going to overachieve.
No doubt.
Because it matters. It means something to go back to, like me, like when I go, my home church is in Slidell. When I go back to church and I walk in with an LSU shirt on, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole building, the whole room lights up, because it's like he made it. Like one of us made it. And so I don't have a lot of athletes in my family like that. And so like that's the thing, to be able to go back in your old neighborhood, it makes a difference.
What was LSU football like for you as a kid? How did you look at it?
So growing up, like, we didn't have money to go like the LSU football games, but I wasn't the biggest. I'm not gonna get in here. Oh, I was the biggest LSU fan. I wasn't the biggest fan. I grew up watching wrestling.
Wow.
So my favorite wrestler is Undertaker. Like I grew up watching wrestling, and so as I got older, in this business, like I said, I fell in love with football because it changed my life. It gave me an opportunity to grow, to channel energy, and as you see now, I can talk. I love that. I love talking. I love helping people. And so the recruiting thing, that's how me and Jordan met. We both had a little issue with high school, Louisiana high school. And so we kind of talked through that. We was at a camp at Nichols Camp, the camp that they do every year.
Absolutely.
Like I think it's like the pro football camp or something like that. We met there.
Was it the Manning Passing Academy?
No, so Nichols does. It used to be. They used to do a camp. Like it's not Nichols. It's just done on their campus, like pro football.
Yeah,
camp
I know they had the
something.
big O-line, D-line.
Yeah. And so we were there, and we met, and I believe at that point I was probably at Hammond High or Albany High, and then I went to A-Meet. And so being at A-Meet, again, the talent you're around there and stuff like that, me and him linked up, and we would travel together to camps. Every time I turned around, Jordan was at the same camp with me. And I was like, look, like, dude, you following me? And
Who are
he
you,
was
bro?
saying, yeah. And so, but he's a great, and he played at Nichols. I went to Southeastern. And so, like I said, we just had a lot, to talk about, watching him rise, because the energy and the effort he did. And it just, some people look at it as a negative, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's not. Like, that energy, that passion for this state is there. And that's why me and him work well together. I help with defense, he helps with offense, but we intertwine. It's not like we overstep each other. We understand.
Where did you fall in love with the evaluation of the player? When did you get that bug?
So around 20, after we went, I was at Southern for 2018, 2019. Recruiting is, again, that's relationships. That's I think I was blessed with that gift to relate. Like, I could walk in, and some of the staff will say that it's not a great thing sometimes. Yeah, sure. I could walk in a room and like change the thought process of the room, good or bad. But like, I've always used that, to help people, and so recruiting was always there. And so, but I always wanted to see like how these guys in the NFL, get to where they are. And I was blessed with the opportunity. Chennis Barrett is the O-line coach at Southern University. He sent me a text message with an application for the Nunn-Wooten fellowship with the NFL. And so I've been with the Rams since 2018.
Wow.
In a scouting internship role remotely, and actually had the chance to win a Super Bowl this year. Me, JR, and Jordan went up to LA this year to watch the Super Bowl. And so learn evaluations through that. And so doing that has made me fall in love with it. Like why certain players are the way they are. And most of them is a God gift. You know, and some of it is hard work too. But, you know, there's every now and then you'll get a Michael Jordan. You'll get a LeBron James that's born with that. Like, I'll never be able to be 6'9". You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But at the same time, you look at some guys that work extremely hard. Muggsy Bogues, that was, you know, a smaller guy that, you know, competed his butt off to get where he is, to get, you know, being in that Hall of Fame conversation. Like, I admire those. And that's what, you know, I look at it like the little guys, the ones that's not really blessed with talent like that, but work, they have an insane work ethic. Yeah. That, you know, no matter, I think Will Smith said this, you might be better looking than me, you might be taller than me, faster than me, you might run faster than me, but if me and you get on a treadmill at the same time, you're going to get off before me. That's work ethic. And I've always, that quote has always stuck with me. Like, I'm not going to get off before you. Yeah. It's not going to happen. I'm going to die trying. Sure. And that's because you learn that in this business. It's either it's talent, right? But then it's work ethic. Work ethic take you to the Hall of Fame status.
One of the guys it seems like has got tremendous work ethic on the staff, and his recruiting has been seen as Jamar Cain. Yes. And he's really gone out and shown the reach of the LSU brand. You are a South Louisiana guy and understand the athletes that come out of the area. From your seat and from your office, what's the balance of national to local recruiting?
So when you first, you know, obviously get here, it takes time to establish the relationships in state, because this state is a relationship-based state. And so the trust has to be established first. And so, you know, when him being a Cali guy, he came in and he learned, he understood, he's still learning, and he wants to. It's not like he's coming here and saying, you know what, I'm not going to recruit this area. That's not the truth. Like, he's a hard-working guy. Obviously, he had other opportunities, but, you know, he stared this one in the face, and he's doing a phenomenal job because he's a great person. Like, the recruiting thing is, you know, LSU recruits itself. But when you put the right people in the right places, like, it changes things. That's when you can go on a national level, because when you walk in a building, like, it's LSU on your chest. Like, no matter what, it's LSU, and people respect that. But when you add a certain component of person into it, then it's like, okay, now we're listening. Now we understand it. Now we respect it. And it's always been that way. I mean, that's why I said, you think about it, you hear everybody talk about the last 20 years, what program has had head coaches come in and out every so often and win a national championship. It's an expectation. And it's because of the mixture of in-state talent and also, you know, the out-of-state players that you get too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's the one thing I can say about this state is, when you come into the state and you give your all, like, this state respects you, you become a part of this state. So when we say we are Louisiana, that goes for everybody that's in the state too. So when you come from out of state, you're not an outsider. Like, look at Joey B. Look at Jamal Adams. Look at Drew Brees. You get what I'm saying? Case in point, Zion. Like, when you give everything, Drew Holiday, you know what I'm saying? Like, this state will love you. And when this state loves you, I don't see another state like that. Like, Drew Brees is no longer here, but Drew Brees is like a legend, a god in the state of Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's just Zion the same way. When you give back, when you help, because this state is so relationship based, they're going to respect you. And that's the same way with our staff. Like, if you look at our staff, the mixture of in-state and out-of-state, like, we have a great component. And then you got the off-the-field component also, which I think is a great balance. Like I said, J.L. Belton, myself, you have Jordan, you have Bobby Barham, who's killing it in Georgia. And that's, you know, when you get that mixture, Corey, even Will Redmond, like, you know what I'm saying? You get Mike Ferrara, like, you just, it's everyone, right? It's everyone together with the same common goal that, you know, we are LSU. And if you're LSU, then that means you're Louisiana.
Have you been a part of a staff that has seen the success that you guys are going through right now, with the amount of commits the level of commits, the amount of commits in the time period? I believe it's 10 commits in or
that was
11 days or something.
The ending, the result is months of work. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see it all pops in 10, 12 days, but that's months and months of work. Like, June was super hectic. And it's not because of, not being planned out. It's just that's college football. June and January are super hectic. They say you get a vacation in February and July, you need it.
Sure.
You need those months to decompress, but it never stops. But that's the work ethic of the Cortez Hanktons, of the Brad Davises, the Frank Wilsons, the Jamar Canes, the Kerry Cooks, the Robert Steeples, Matt House. I mean, that's everyone. Mike Denbrock. That's everyone putting, going in the same direction. Because when you don't have everybody going in the same direction, you don't get that result.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're absolutely. You're right. We're absolutely killing it right now. But the thing is, you got to kill it in December.
Yeah.
You got to hold. Like, I think that's the toughest thing in this business is to hold for 6 months.
Take me through a normal day for you. How does a day for you work in your seat? Are you on the phone all day? Are you
pretty much? It's just communication. Just like same with Jordan. But I'll get up probably 5 a.m. I go work out. Then I get into the office. Get whatever plan jail has, and just go from there. I mean, I probably leave at about 7, 8 p.m. But I mean, I'm not done. Like, when I leave out there, I'm still communicating, because the rule of thumb is, like, if you're not communicating with the kid, then someone else is.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this business is so momentary. Like, it could flip in a second. Like, hey, we in a good spot, and then 5 minutes later, they feel like they're in a good spot, and it's just like, it's never done until they put pen to paper, and even then. Now with the rules, the transfer rules, you're still recruiting kids on your campus.
Wow.
And that's what's so great about having a great team, a great organization that's all going in the same direction. Is those kids get on that campus, and those kids still have those relationships that you built through recruiting. And so, but it starts at the top. Like, it's so crazy when you get into the building and you hear all the outsiders talk about BK, and then you meet him.
Yeah.
And then you talk with him, and you converse with him. And, like, we're killing it because of him. Because he finishes it. He starts it and he finishes it. The kid has to talk with him. The family has to talk with him. And then, it's like, okay, like, this is different. It's calculated. It's effective. Like, how he moves. It's just phenomenal.
We've seen here recently a big-time prospect in somebody's backyard really commit to the graduate champions saying moniker that you're putting out there. What is that?
I mean, that's the overarching goal. That's our motto. That's what we stand for. Because when you come to LSU, right, most kids that come to LSU have the thought process that they're going to the NFL. So before we want you doing that, we want you to think about getting that degree, because that's important. That's a life changer. Like, football has to stop at some point. Obviously, Tom Brady's going to play till he's 60. But for the rest of us regular human beings, right, football is going to stop. It's going to end, and when it ends, you'll have that degree. And if you do what you're supposed to do, right, you possibly can have a bachelor's and a master's, and then go into the NFL and win a championship. Because that's the goal. Like, just like I said, in the last 3 head coaches, they've won a championship in the first 3 years. Well, that's normally what kids go into the NFL, right? So you'll go into the NFL with a bachelor's, with a championship. If you stay an extra year or two, you got a master's degree with a championship, and you're drafted high. Like, who else can sell that?
Same question on the BK takeover.
Oh, we want people to understand it. We want people to respect it. Like, we want people to respect him. We want people to respect what he's done. Like I think what Birdman said, put some respect on his name. Like, let's not go too far with this, right? Like, this guy is a winner in everything that he does.
Right.
So why play around with this? We need you to understand what you're doing when you come at him, when you come at us. This is the result, and now you got to live with it, because we ain't going nowhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? The thing is, we're starving, and we're gonna eat, and that's simple.
How far into the future do you work? I asked Jordan this yesterday, and I wonder, from your position, are you able to appreciate and enjoy, like, the current team?
Yes and no. So you have, obviously, people in place. Me and Jordan, really, it's like I said, it's nonstop. obviously per NCAA rules, but we're watching kids, 26s, 27s.
Right.
Because if you're on Twitter, like you see a kid post a picture and it's like, wow, like how old is that kid? You know what I'm saying?
6'6", 250.
Let's follow him.
14 years old.
And you don't want to be last. You never want to be last, especially in state. That's unacceptable. And so you just, you work through it. You figure it out. You put them on the board. You have them. You want them on campus. You talk to the high school coach because you want to be in the forefront of everyone's mind, especially in state and the surrounding states, the Texas, the Arkansas, the Mississippis, the Alabamas. And then once the season starts, like that changes everything because the kids come on campus. They want to, like, there's no greater atmosphere in the country, in the world. Maybe some soccer atmospheres, obviously, but in America, I don't think there's a greater atmosphere than playing at Death Valley at night. 102,000, it's different.
Yeah, for sure. To me, Coach, it's about the Russell Gages, the Foster Moros, the Andre Anthonys, the Deion Joneses, the Duke Rileys.
Correct.
Those are the ones to me that really kind of put you over the top.
Right.
What's the process of finding those guys? Coach House was in here and said, guys left your camp under the premise that they're still under evaluation going into their senior year.
Correct. It's always a senior eval because, again, when you talk about this state, like, we're going to overachieve. Like, we're going to, the high school coaches do a great job in this state. But, like, when you talk about going to the college level, it's more, they get more time. College coaches don't have to teach. Like, I was a high school coach. You taught. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you taught, like, English or social studies. Like, the head coach head coach may be one of the coordinators do PE. But that's it. The rest of the staff is coaching.
History.
And so, yes. And so it's tough to develop how you want to specifically. When they get to college, they get that specific development that changes. And then the kid, the individual, the prospect gets the opportunity to hone in on those skills, that skill set. Because in high school, if you're the best player, you're going to play running back, you're going to play kick return, you're going to play quarterback. Like, it's hard to develop a certain skill set that's going to, help you maintain and grow to your individual position until you get to college. And so that's the key thing in it, But the senior eval thing, which I always say this, like, I'll never say a kid can't play here. Because you don't know what happens. You don't know
for sure
how the growth happens over year for a few months. And then you can't also, because nobody can sit here and say that they knew when Joey B came into this program that he was going to be who he was. But you know what happened? He grew. He evolved. He was accepted. He worked hard. And then look at him now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And so
Lloyd Cushenberry.
Correct. That's a part that you, like, internally that you can't see. You cannot evaluate that. You'll never be able to evaluate that.
Can you describe the challenge that you guys took on in getting the roster to where it was at the beginning of spring and how you service and maintain that even up to today? But the challenge of a lot of people, when you saw LSU in the bowl game on January 4th pulling out, you thought, man, next year's going to be tough.
Right. So I watched that. I actually watched that, bowl game, and hats off to Brad Davis just getting it. Like the situation they had and all that, with the scholarships and stuff like that.
I mean, John Trey Kirkland.
Yeah, to get and for him to go in there and throw 3 touchdowns, like, come on now.
Player.
You're talking about,
Louisiana.
like, that's why I have a tremendous respect for Brad Davis. And to think about that, getting them ready for that, and then from that point on, I think I came in like maybe mid-January, and the roster that was constructed, put together closely, Louisiana's a melting pot. And so it's gumbo. It's everything going into it, the ingredients, the spices, but it's a competitive balance. Like, you don't want to do too much, right? But you want to do enough, and then the kids' thought process, mindset, and then BK's structure pushes you over the top. Like, this is the expectation here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and it's a clear expectation when you walk in the building that the goals are there. Because you want them to see it every day. You want it to be ingrained in their mind that this is what we expect, right? That's the Tiger standard. Like, you don't go below the Tiger standard. You go below the Tiger standard, you're not a Tiger. Yeah. Like, that then takes on a mind of its own. And then you hear the players talk about it in the huddles, at practice, in the meeting rooms. And so when you have clear goals and it's visible, then you take it to the next level. That's how you build.
from building that roster like you guys did in spring, how important was last month the camp circuit having, I believe you had like 1,600 prospects from like 5th grade to 12th grade on the camp. How important is that part of the process to what you guys do?
It's big because you get the high school coaches, the parents, all on campus so they can meet you. That's pretty much the first time you can really, have them on campus, shake hands. It's an evaluation, but it's twofold. It's their evaluation of us too. They get to see us coach their kids. And so when they get to see us coach their kids, they get to see if, they gel and they vibe with us. And it's the same way. It's not just us evaluating. It's an opportunity for everyone to get to know each other. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, it's a unique, it's hard work, but you also want to see the coaches, their first time experiencing the Louisiana Heat, sure. and the players out there experiencing that Louisiana Heat, right. and how they respond to it. Right. Like, how do they respond to this adversity? Sure. And so that's when you get to see if they can be a Tiger.
Yeah. You have seen football at the highest level, and you've seen it from a couple of different vantage points. What's your point of view of the SEC?
I don't think there's anything better, right? You look at how it's viewed by the NFL with draft picks. Some would say that LSU's pro day is the Olympics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could charge admission.
Right.
Yeah, right.
People, you show up and it's gonna be 2 or 3 guys that's gonna shock the world.
John Trey,
Racy McMahon. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That they're gonna come out there. People when you think about Marshall, you think about him, he went second round, but dude was one of the best receivers, I believe, coming
number one prospect coming out of high school.
That's what I'm saying. Think about that.
Andre Anthony.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And I had a chance to meet Andre. Dre's phenomenal guy. Definitely was rooting for him. But it's those guys that they come in and that just work their behind off, and you get to see them at the end, and it's celebrated. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so important for in-state prospects to give us a chance. It's gonna take some time, and we get it. But as we're going through the season, we're gonna pour more and more into the state because we value the state. Like I tweeted yesterday, LSU is Louisiana. We are Louisiana because we're from Louisiana, and that's out-of-state prospects too, out-of-state families. Because once you come here, like I was talking about, you become a part of this culture. Mm-hmm. Like, you are Louisiana. Mm-hmm. Like, Drew Brees, nobody can tell me Drew Brees is not from Louisiana.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference. Like, I know it's early. We have not been together a year yet. But once it starts to roll, you'll see. Yeah. Because we value this state.
One thing that stood out in the roster building process was that you guys cleaned up in the portal. You weren't able to sign as many as you want out of high school, but the 15 you signed.
Yes.
Are dogs.
Yes.
Right? What do you make of guys like Campbell, Emory Jones, Walker Howard, Quincy Wiggins, Harold Perkins, these cats coming in on how they can impact here in their rookie season?
The crazy thing is those guys want to be LSU Tigers. And when you want to be an LSU Tiger, nothing else can change your mind because this is where you want to be. Mm-hmm. And it hits different when you want to be here. Like the same, I'll go back to even, me and Jordan. I had other opportunities, right? To go elsewhere. But when LSU came calling, I can't turn that down. And the other opportunities were higher salary, but it didn't matter. No matter what, there's nothing that can change the fact or the feeling that you get when you look in the stands and your mom's in the stands.
Sure. And
she don't have to fly. She don't have it hits different for those kids when they can say I'm an LSU Tiger. They can say with the hashtag, the slogan of Forever LSU. Mm-hmm. Once you're a part of here, you're here. Yeah. And when you're doing it in front of your home fans, when you're doing it in front of the family, that it feels different. And that's when we say LSU. Then Kerry came in here and said LSU recruits itself. Mm-hmm. We just walk in here and we just add our flavor to it, and we add the mixture, the spices of ourself into it, and that's what changes it. But LSU is LSU. And when you grow up and that's what you see, that's what you love, that's what your family sees, that's what your family loves, it's you're Hall of Fame already. When you say yes to LSU, when you put that hat on, it's a different feeling. Yeah. And I don't know if you feel that elsewhere. I've been out of state. I was at the University of Memphis. That was arguably one of my best jobs. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the staff. We killed it.
That's the best recruiting class they've ever had.
Yes, at Memphis, like we did a great job. Landon Salem, that staff over there, Ryan Silverfield, they did a phenomenal job. But you know, LSU is just different. And I think it was Tim Tebow said that about the atmosphere. He said, you go to any one of them, and it's just different.
And you can genuinely see on Tebow's face when he's describing it, he's almost like scared.
It's like going back in time.
Yeah, he's almost kind of like
right.
He put himself back in that moment of like,
but LSU, it's just different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he's like, I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, he was crying leaving that field that night, almost like the A.J. McCarron crying, get me out of here.
Right. The
I'm
aura
done with
of
this
the
place,
the
man.
aura of that place at night it's mind blowing. Mm-hmm. It's like they say, it's haunted. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like and the thing is, even if you go in there and grind out a W, you feel that.
Sure.
Like check. I would love to see the stats on the game after that. Mm-hmm. For those opponents, like how do they fare the game after going into Death Valley at night? But like that's the thing. Like what you're saying, the Will Campbells, the Quincy Wiggins, those guys, like they wanted to be here. There was nothing that was going to change that. Why? Because it you have a better feeling when you can play within hours of your hometown and your family can visit at any point without obstacles. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like if you're from here, you want to succeed here because it feeds back into the home state. Yeah. That's the thing. Like it's the Saints, it's the Pelicans, it's LSU. Obviously there are other teams here, so no disrespect to them. They count into it. But like an LSU offer is it's a game changer. Mm-hmm. And that's why you see kids when they get those offers. That's what warms me up when you see a young individual, finally get that moment to receive an offer from LSU. Yeah, like it changes everything. And then at that point, we just got to go hit the ground running. Like it doesn't end, it doesn't stop.
I've been doing this for 12 years, so have been able to see Frank Wilson kind of become the
GOAT,
this legendary status. Yeah. I mean, like he was Louisiana's favorite son for a minute. Now Bigfoot. He seems like the nation's best recruiter, or at least that guy.
I mean, when I was in getting in this business, he was the nation's best.
Definitely,
he's always anybody that says otherwise.
The book Meat Market that was published in 2008 gives you a description of a young Frank Wilson and his greatness, and then I think the Fournette Mountain was a huge mountain that he overcame that kind of gave him that best.
Tyrann Matthews, you got like anyone that says that has a conversation, when they talk about GOAT status in basketball, you're talking about Michael Jordan. If you have a conversation about the GOAT status of recruiting, developing, also let's put that in there, developing talent.
Right. It does get lost how good of a coach he is. Yeah.
And you don't say Frank Wilson's name, you're automatically excluded from talking about it. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't talk at all.
So in your position, how do you resource Frank? How do you guys work off one another?
Just bouncing ideas off of him and then watching how he moves. Watching how I think the greatest thing he does in this business is close. Mm-hmm. He closes very well. When you think it's stuff that I would deal with that'll probably stress me out, he's cool as the other side of the pillow. Right. Because he knows at some point I'm gonna get that home visit.
Mm-hmm. It's over.
It's over.
It's over.
If I get it, if he gets a chance, it's done. Yeah. And that's a lot of guys on our staff are like the same thing with Jamar on defense. You talked about the professor, Matt House. When they get on campus and he sits down and he talks ball, done deal. It's over. It's done deal. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he specializes in. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing.
He's in his element.
Yes, he is. He goes to another level when he's talking. And me, I'm not a big X's and O's guy. That's I was one of those high school coaches that did all those cone drills and stuff like that, right? And so, but even
time killers.
Yeah, even I get perked up when he gets on the board. Yeah. Because that's his element, and that's the thing I say that Dr. Belton, JR, and our staff does well, putting guys in position of their expertise, not putting them in spots that they're not, phenomenal in, great in, elite in, and it all works together. Like I said, Carter Sheridan is one that, he's a analyst. He's been in this for a while now. He's with the Saints. He's a St. Aug grad. Like, thinking about, him being put in a recruiting phase too, like, phenomenal guy, phenomenal family. It's guys like that you don't really hear about that do great jobs, in the beginning, in the end, holding the fort down, because the toughest thing for us is when football starts, like, we kick it into a different notch, a different gear, because we got to go out there and win football games. It's great to, to win the recruiting battles, but we got to win football games. And so that takes the attention of some of the coaches, and now it's put on us, the guys off the field, the guys in the shadows, to hold the fort down to get to December.
How do you evaluate quarterbacks these days? I mean, you take Walker Howard every year. Do you take Jaden Daniels every year? What are you looking just for a player? Or are you looking for a specific model?
I'll always say this, and that's hats off to Mike Denbrock, hats off to to Joe Sloan. Like Joe, I was with Joe at Louisiana Tech. Me and Joe battled for years, either from Southern to me going to Memphis. Joe was a mainstay at La Tech for 9 years. And we were blessed with the opportunity, to get to work together another year, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad, but Joe's a phenomenal guy, man. Joe understands, the ebbs and flows of the position, and how to, build that room. And so, like I said, he's calculated with that, like, because you can't, it's more so about fit. Recruiting and fit is different. And so it's, does that individual, especially at that position, man, does that individual add to the room, or will it be chaotic? And so you got to be careful. It's got to be a comfortable blend that you have to be careful. And like he navigates that well. And so I more so lean on them with that. I specifically I'm more on defense. And some of these stuff you got to stay away from. Like the quarterback position, you got to be very careful now. Because you invite one or two to the right or the wrong function, it gets hectic.
You probably piss somebody off.
Yeah,
right.
Like in this business, in the recruiting, what I'm saying? It's once they're on your campus, it's a little easier because you can, control the narrative and stuff like that. But in the recruiting, you got people that's going to write different articles for this and that and this and that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful with that. And that's, like I said, we do a really good job as a staff.
You have to be adaptive in your position.
To the moment,
yes. Absolutely. Yes. How do you view NIL talks, transfer portal talks, stuff that's kind of changing in front of your face?
Mainly with that, I think Jordan probably hit on it more. Jordan is more involved in NIL. I leave that to the upper management and staff. I try to stay away from that as much as possible because I'm not ingrained in it enough, right? I just want to build those relationships with the individuals, get them on campus, and then let the upper management deal with that part.
You've done your job.
Yes, I just got to get them on campus, get them to love LSU, get them to love our staff, and then from that point on, I let everybody else who deal with that take care of that because, listen, that's a different monster. And but the thing is, with that, you just got to be careful, man, with how that moves because. What is the motives behind it? Yeah. Like the goal is to get to the NFL. The goal is to get the degree. And you can't lose sight of that. And so if you lose sight of it, like if you get all that in the front end, like what's the motivation after that? You know what I'm saying? And so, but like I said, I try my best to stay out of it. Sure. Because like that's not, I don't have the answers for that. And so if I don't have the answers, you ain't gonna get me tongue tied and twisted up, and you sit down with the head coach. Say, "Oh, Sherman said this." Oh,
no, he didn't.
No, I did not.
It is not surprising to figure out that Big Sherm's parents are pastors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My man can go, bro. Yeah, he can talk.
Yeah,
listen, you got the. I mean, from a recruiter standpoint, you can see how
it's a blessing.
You know doubt about it.
And you never really realize
you have to have that,
right? You never really realize it until you put in moments like this, into when you put on the big stage, right? When you're put in and you get the opportunity, and that's the thing. Like that's what's great with our staff is they allow you again to be an expert in what you do. Yeah. Like they're not gonna put me in a situation with NIL. I don't know that. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? And I'm good. But if hey, we need this mom's over here. We need you to talk to this mom about. Oh, let's go. Yeah. That's fine. The little kid, like we have. Some amazing people, Bren, who's in recruiting. You won't see her a lot. Destiny Wilson, Sarah. They handle a lot of the things that you won't see on a day-to-day operation. They're in the recruiting department. That's phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Mike Ferrero, you'll never see him. Carl is in personnel. You'll never see them. Those individuals help with the day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
They do a phenomenal job, and so you want to shout them out because that's a part of what we do. You know what I'm saying? You look at Bo, who's in our training, one of the best trainers in the world. Mickey, who works with him.
Bo's world renowned.
Yes,
I mean,
and people need to know that.
Yeah.
Like you have a former NFL trainer that's on our staff, our head trainer.
Right.
You look at trying to think of.
I mean, Marucci's a legend.
Yes, Jack. Like you know what I'm saying?
Him and his Toyota Camry.
Jack,
guy.
He's got a science.
Richest guy in the building, for God's sakes.
You think about Jake Flint, Dr. Frakes. You think of everybody that's in our nutrition department, video department, who we just had a Hall of Famer. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Doug.
Doug. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about that. Miss Yael, like, who's been, I mean, forever has been a part of this. Like, you got to think.
Can't
like,
wait for her book.
Right. That's why we're in a position we're in, because of all those individuals.
Absolutely.
Not just like me, Jordan. We're able to operate on the highest of highest levels because they take care of all that. Like our chief of staff, Bet Rex, phenomenal leader.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jazz, that's you think about that. Dr. Arnold, who's player development stuff like that. Ira.
Wow.
I mean, you just
listen to how many people it takes to run a football program.
That you never hear from.
That you never even know exist.
Correct. Like I get to come to work, and it's all taken care of. Like all I have to do is recruit, and that's I've never been a part of anything like that.
Wow.
That's the structure that Brian Kelly has put in place, that everyone has a specific job, you know your role, and as long as everyone do their role, we're going to be okay.
You probably just answered it, but you've seen football at places like Memphis and Louisiana Tech, but you've also seen it a part of the Los Angeles Rams, who just won the Super Bowl. How do the resources compare? I mean, Hal sat right there and said he was a part of the Kansas City Chiefs and said he's got more.
Endless resources.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you
just pointed out the personnel.
This is one of the, I would say, there are 32 teams in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the best, probably 10 jobs in the country in this sport, of any level.
Yeah,
we don't have like resources, like, you know what I'm saying, the endless, limitless.
Mm-hmm. How similar is Brian Kelly's kind of, you put it up like the structure? How similar was that to when you were working for the Rams or like an NFL team?
Obviously it's a little different because of how. I don't have day-to-day relationships with the head coach,
right.
Los Angeles Rams, but it's structured pretty much the same way. Like, again, everyone has a specific role, and everyone has to stay in that specific role. Like, if your job is to sweep the floor and the floor isn't swept, it's like that person's job to do that, because if you get out of your job and go do their job, then your job is not done, and then it's a ripple effect.
Wasting time.
Right, and we can't do that. Every moment is calculated.
Yeah,
that's the difference. Like, it's an understanding when you walk in a building that you're expected to do this, and it has to be done. You can't leave until it's done, because the next day is not going to flow if your job was not done. Something's going to crash. Something's going to fall apart, because it's piece by piece. Built brick by brick, and every brick matters.
I feel like I could talk to you all day, and I know you got stuff to do, and I'll get you out of here and get you back to the office. But what part of the process are you in right now? You guys are gobbling up commits, and you're still working the phones and recruiting. But what part of the process of recruiting are you in? How do you maybe schedule your season? How does your seasons
So
run?
we're about to go into end season, and so the communication obviously will shift a little bit. Getting kids on campus, which you absolutely have to use the atmosphere of Death Valley.
Sure.
And so then it's more invites. Obviously, you got the official offer letters coming out. You got the ability to talk to the 2024s coming up soon. And so then you open a new book. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Start right back over.
Now you're 2 years into it. But again, that structure is put in place. Like, again, I always say his name, Dr. Belton. Like, it's already put in place, and we just, like, that's the thing. I don't have to worry about that. Like, when I come into the building, I know it's all here. This is what we're doing. This is how we do it. Let's get it done.
Man.
And it allows you to be elite.
Efficient.
Yes,
Golly.
because you know what is expected, and it's a clear goal. And that's like I said, that's the difference. Like, when we walk in there, we know what we're doing. When we meet, we know what we're meeting about. Like, we're not going over. Why? Because it's structured and it's put that way, and that's what allowed BK to succeed for so long. And now he's getting some of the best talent in the world. I mean, the country should be scared, but we'll see.
Do you get away from it? Do you have anything to get away from it?
Oh, so tomorrow I'm gonna go fishing. I love fishing. Okay. I absolutely love fishing. And most important.
Do you move the phone away from you?
No,
you can't leave the phone.
That's not gonna happen. Okay. But like the most important person in my life, obviously y'all see is pinned on my Twitter page, is my godson. He has autism, and so before I got into college, I was a special ed para. So I was a paraprofessional assistant. So I worked with autistic individuals. And so, like, I just want to make sure that he's taken care of, that he doesn't have, any worries. Because at some point he's going to get older. And so every weekend I try to go down there and I see him. Wow. And so that's my why. And so, but that goes back, that ties back into giving the individuals in this state an opportunity because they need it. If everything's equal, they're different. They become difference makers. Yeah. And I'm a testament to that. Jordan's a testament to that. J.L. Belton's a testament to that. That's what I'm saying. Frank Wilson, like you can go on Cortez Hankton, like they're Brad Davis. And it's just blessed to have the opportunity to represent Louisiana at LSU.
No doubt.
And so when you get that opportunity, that's the opportunity of a lifetime. Like it's hard to pull you away from that.
Look, man. I don't know what it counts for. I think it has to happen. But y'all got a bunch of good dudes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Great people.
Good people.
Solid people.
People, I mean, look, we've just seen it from you guys coming through here, sitting down for extended conversations, and then you go back to your own world. But one thing that stands out to me is that you're good people and y'all all get along.
Yes.
Which is probably, I mean, for as many people as you put together every day that don't really know each other, it's probably pretty tough to land on.
Yeah. And I don't want to keep, sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but it's like that because nobody's overstepping each other. It's different when you don't have clear goals, clear expectations. You know what I'm saying? Like you wonder what this person's doing or how can I do this? But when it's understood that every brick matters, like that, I cannot let someone down. Because if I don't do my part, then it's going to stretch someone else thin. And we all have families. We all have opportunities in this world, and we have to, we got to kill it. Every day we have to kill it. Because, again, you read an article the next day, and it changes your whole perception. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get a kid to say yes, and then the next day it's like, oh, well, I want to do this. It's like, whoa. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to stress other people out because you're not doing your job. Yeah. Like, and so it's not hectic. It doesn't create chaos. Like, it's understood. And when it's understood, you can be the best that you can be.
Yeah. I'll commit. I'm in. Send me the papers, Coach. I'm in. Keep up the great work, man. You guys are inspirational. You guys are doing good things. You can see it. You can see all the hard work paying off.
I'll say this, man. Like it's because of you all. It's because of media. It's because of the fan base. It's because of the state. Like you want to succeed because of the people in the state. Mm-hmm. It's important. Like when the Saints won a Super Bowl, I think that was one of the biggest revenue years in the state of Louisiana.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when LSU is winning, when the Saints are winning, when the Pelicans are winning, the state thrives.
No doubt.
And so when you have that thought process, then that makes you go harder because you're creating opportunities, you're creating jobs, and that's why I say if you have that thought process about Louisiana, come here, come visit. That's why Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest, Essence Fest. That this culture is different in Louisiana. Come enjoy it. Come see it for yourself, and then you'll see. You're like, you know what? It's not what they say. It's phenomenal. I love the fact that I'm from here.
Follow him on Twitter. It's a great follow. I Recruit to Boot on Twitter. If you're following him there, you can keep up with the messages. You can see it's not a character. He's always on.
Threw in a little wave lyric at the end. That was his best rapper alive.
That's just how it is. Just drop the mic on the way out. Keep up the great work, Sherm. We'll see you again soon, man. Thank you, Sherman Wilson, for coming by here. We will be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Appreciate you.